This is the Pilot's News Briefing Podcast. I'm Frank Daniels. With me today is Matt Lamb from the Pilot's Newsroom on a Friday afternoon. I was about to give a qualifier, but if I do, it's mild, given the storm that's bearing down on the East Coast, Winter Storm Fern, as it has been labeled. And I thought we'd start with some updates for that and then move into one of your stories about Pinehurst. The most recent update I just got was from your beat with the school system.
Right.
And they said they're moving to remote learning on Monday, right?
Correct.
And they had canceled any after-school activities beginning at 6 p.m. Tonight, Friday, which will, of course, be effective through Monday.
Correct.
And I guess they'll make a determination on Tuesday on sometime before the end of the day on Monday.
Right. I imagine it'll be sometime Monday afternoon.
And then as far as other updates go, the National Weather Service has put a winter storm warning into effect with conditions beginning around 7 p.m. on Saturday, and those will continue through to Monday afternoon. Those conditions are going to lead to accumulation of ice, mostly with some mix of snow and sleet as well, but around more than a half of an inch of ice is expected during that winter storm period, so beginning Saturday night and through into Monday. Alongside the tail end of those that actual storm, those storm conditions, brutal cold, dangerous cold. Those are kind of the quotes that have been coming from the National Weather Service. Will be expected starting on Monday and into Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. They've said that possible record lows for daytime temperatures, and they're expecting somewhere between the low temperature on Monday night to be somewhere in between -5 and 5 degrees. So it will be very cold. Maybe take the remainder of the day Saturday if you're listening to this. We released this in the evening on Friday. And so take the time before the winter storm conditions take effect to get any winter weather kits available or organized with flashlights, extra batteries, phone charging equipment, medications if need be, and any maybe some extra clothes, warm blankets, stuff like that. And be prepared for extended power outages, because even a quarter of an inch of ice can create power outage conditions and extended travel and infrastructure. They say medium impacts, so more than mild, but maybe not severe impacts to infrastructure and travel. That being said, we will continue to update. There's an article on the pilot.com that is in front of the paywall that you can check as we update it through the weekend. Does that sound... I guess I'd also say that Moore County issued a state of emergency, and many of the municipalities have followed suit, some of them beginning tonight at 6, some of them beginning tomorrow at 6 p.m. And so we'll move on, I think. And you covered was that at a village council meeting that they talked about?
Yeah, so on a little bit of a lighter note, at a recent Village of Pinehurst work session, the village council is going to establish a senior advisory committee, and it's kind of loosely fashioned around the existing neighborhood advisory committee, the NAC. Save for, it's not going to be geographically located like the NAC. The NAC is a representative from each of Pinehurst's neighborhoods, whereas this is going to be 9 different citizens who kind of come together and advise on senior issues around the village. So this is kind of the brainchild of Kevin Fitzpatrick, who was newly seated to the village council in the fall. At the end of the last election season. he campaigned on efforts to kind of bolster services for Pinehurst seniors. You have an aging population in the village. And I think his take, even, throughout campaign season, was there's a lot more that we could do for the senior population. He saw fraud issues. He saw, online scams. He saw that, there needed to be some extra resources with the police force. And he kind of rallied that platform plank and pitched it to the village council recently. And at that work session, they kind of laid out some fundamental goals. And, I'll read you a quote here from a village staff drafted tentative policy that kind of outlines the new committee. The SAC is intended to advise the village on matters affecting older adults and to support policies, programs, facilities, and services that promote a high quality of life, accessibility, inclusion, independence, and age-friendly community practice for Pinehurst residents. So again, I think this is a solid thing that Kevin's come up with, and granted, we're at the early stages of it. There's going to be 9 members. And again, it'll just be kind of an informational conduit between senior residents and the village council. So you got to be a permanent resident in the village. You got to be at least 55 years old. And you'll be individually appointed by the village council based on a recommendation from the village manager, Doug Willardson, and kind of a select staff. Similar to other committees, you'll serve 3-year terms. You can serve 2 consecutive for a total of 6 years. And I think initially they're going to look to meet it once a month, but, they could ramp that up if needed. We'll see how it gets going.
So those are the qualifications that a Pinehurst resident must meet to apply to be nominated by a council member?
Correct. I think they'll do interviews, and they'll do it similar to they do the other things. So,
okay. So as opposed
planning
to
and zoning and NAC, they all have an interview.
Right. The Neighborhood Advisory Council, as you've mentioned, is geographically based. So
correct.
But this will be in the entire municipality of the village of Pinehurst. Correct. Any resident can apply, given that they're 55 or older.
Correct.
Okay.
And they're still fleshing out the details.
Okay.
But maybe they'll stand it up maybe as soon as February.
Okay.
Start looking for members.
And I'm guessing that they just contact their representative or the village manager, Doug Willardson, to express interest?
I think people will express interest, and then they'll have a kind of an interview process, and then they'll bring that individual before the village council, and they'll say their piece, and they'll get the go or no go.
Okay. And then as they have their initial meetings, then we'll kind of learn their priorities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Matt will report on those. If you have questions about that or potentially learning more about storm-related updates, you can send us an email. You can send Matt. His email address is mlamb@thepilot.com. That's MLAMB@thepilot.com. My email address is frank@thepilot.com, FRANK@thepilot.com. And that is, for now, the latest news in Moore County.
Hunker down, Frank.
Yes, indeed. Good luck out there.